Skadoosh. Got the Panda shirt on, so you know that means we are reviewing Kung Fu Panda 4, directed by Mike Mitchell. Here's my full and honest spoiler review on Kung Fu Panda 4. The film starts off with some antelope farmers doing a little thing, and then they see Tai Lung. Well, you think it's Tai Lung, but it's actually the chameleon who's the villain of this film. We then cut to Po doing some Dragon Warrior things, taking down Master Stingray. Fight scenes are actually not too bad here. Like, it's interesting, it's new, it feels a little bit refreshing as well. So I give credit to the fight scenes for that, and the animation looked absolutely stunning. He's got his little hat on, his little cape, so it looks king, all right? So we've got to give him props to that. Master Shifu then says, "Bro, I need to talk to you." And they talk how Po is now giving up the title of Dragon Warrior to become spiritual leader, and he has to pick someone else to become the Dragon Warrior. So we go through the process of what the first one kind of looked like, with Oogway and Shifu looking at the Furious Five to pick the Dragon Warrior, except this time Po has Oogway's position and Master Shifu is just there once again. He's a little bit jelly, you can tell, he kind of says a little bit jelly, but we could sit down, all right? After the candidates do the little thing, Po's like, and he picks himself because he does not want to give up this title as Dragon Warrior, because deep down he feels like this is who he's supposed to be, is the Dragon Warrior. We then get a nice callback back to the little peach tree where Oogway and Po had their first real encounter, except this time now Po and Shifu are having an encounter. How Shifu's like, "Po, you got to give it up, man. Like, it's time for you to let someone else have this title." So he does a little bit inner peace, and then he sees something scruffling around in Little J Palace. Now this is where we get our first encounter of the new character Shen, who is a little mischievous fox who likes, making a little trouble. Now there's a little fight scene between them two in the J Palace, which has a lot of callbacks to the first film, with the little whispering pot, which Po's like, "I've already broken that twice," and then, breaks, and it's kind of cool. I thought this was really funny, really fun, this part. Po then eventually wins this little battle between Zhen and says, "Goodbye, time to lock you in prison," only for the antelopes to come and say, "Po, help us, we see, Tai Lung." Zhen then tells Po that she knows some things, and Po willingly says, "You know what? You gotta help me." So together they go into the city, causing a bit of chaos along the way at a little bar, because Zhen likes to be a sneaky little fox and steal people's money and cause some drama. Now, while they're in the big city, Po actually finds out that Zhen's actually this wanted criminal and lives underground in this base with all these other criminals, which gives Po and Zhen the chance to hide out while everything cools up. So once it hits nightfall, they say it's time to go up to fight the chameleon. They sneak into the chameleon's headquarters, only for Po to get trapped in this cage, and for Zhen to actually betray Po, as this was part of the chameleon and Zhen's plan the entire time, to get that little staff, open up the spirit realm, and to steal the powers of all our legacy characters such as Tai Lung, General Kai, and Lord Shen. Po then eventually is like, "You know what, I shouldn't have trusted that little sneaky fox," and makes his way back up to go and fight Chameleon, only for Zhen to come back and plead for forgiveness and say, "Look, I was so bad for turning on you." Now Po, being the kind-hearted panda he is, forgives Zhen, and together they work together to stop the chameleon. Now at this stage, the chameleon has actually opened up the spirit realm and has started bringing in all our old villains. Now, the best part of the movie, in my eyes, was this part when Tai Lung comes out and kicks a little bit of ass. It's legit 30 seconds of Tai Lung being an absolute goddess, using his little little punches, and then the chameleon licks him and steals his power. And I was like, what a waste. We could have had a bit more Tai Lung screen time, but no. See you later. Then he gets locked in a cage, as well as the rest of the returning characters. Now a fight scene plays out with Po and Chameleon, with the chameleon having the powers of all the master villains of Kung Fu. She's really powerful at this stage. Now I'm not gonna lie, the fight scenes were amazing for this, when the chameleon gets powers from all the different villains and combines it. It's really cool. She turns into this dragon with she turns into this dragon. It's kind of cool. Po then gets himself trapped in another one of these cages, and this is when he says to Zhen, "You've got to defeat the chameleon." So he hands Zhen the Staff of Wisdom, and the chameleon and Zhen have a fight, only for Zhen to take out the chameleon. And I'm just like, all right, this is our new Dragon Warrior. Just tell us now. In the end, they do defeat the chameleon. We get a little cool interaction between Tai Lung and Po, in which Tai Lung says, "Maybe Oogway wasn't wrong about you," grabs the little chameleon, takes her into the spirit realm, only for them all to disappear. Po and Zhen go back to the Valley of Peace, in which Po picks Zhen as the Dragon Warrior, And this is where the movie pretty much ends, setting up possible films down the road in which Zhen will be our new Dragon Warrior. We do get the mid-credit scene in which we see the Furious 5 all return for like, it's legit like a minute worth of the Furious 5 training. They don't speak, it's just them there. And I know this was a last minute thing that added to the film, in fact, because everyone wanted the Furious 5 in there. But that's basically the plot for Kung Fu Panda 4. Now, as for your acting, you have your Jack Black as Poe, once again, living it up to expectation. Jack Black's amazing. He can never do no wrong. It's Jack Black. We have Awkwafina playing this new character, Zhen. Everyone thinks she's really annoying. I don't mind her. I think she's okay. We have Dustin Hoffman as Shifu. Doesn't have too much screen time this round in the film. Then we've got Bryan Cranston as Lee, which is Poe's father. And James Hong as Mr. Ping, who's Poe's other father. And the dynamic between Lee and Mr. Ping, we get these like cuts every now and then to the film of them actually going to the city to find Poe. And I think these didn't work, but they did work to some extent. Having them there at a longer period of times worked, but then there was times where we had them for like 30 seconds and then it cut back to Poe. And it was like you either keep it there long or you don't at all. You know what I mean? Then we obviously had our villain, the Chameleon, voiced by Viola Davis, who I think she was a really cool concept of a villain, just let down in certain ways, especially her motive. Now, the pacing of the film, it was pretty average. It didn't feel like the other Kung Fu Panda movies where they just kind of keep pushing and rolling and they keep the ball moving. This one felt like there was a lot of stops and starts. It was kind of zig and zaggy to some extent. Probably towards the end, I felt it felt more like a Kung Fu Panda movie, especially that last half an hour, 20 minutes when we see it kind of go real dark to some extent with Poe getting pushed off the bridge and then him making his way back up only for him to fight with Zhen on the bridge, which was really cool by the way. But apart from the pacing, it was a little bit of a letdown. But all in all, Kung Fu Panda 4 is a cash grab. I'm not going to lie. It was my fourth most anticipated film of the year. And unfortunately, I'm very disappointed of this film. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Furious 5 went in there, blah, blah, blah. To me, it didn't bother me that much. To me, it was more the fact that it kind of was pushing away from Poe and we're getting it to be more of a Zhen story now. Like in the next couple of movies, it feels like it's going to set that up her as the Dragon Warrior. I would have loved to seen a little bit more of the Furious 5, but there's not much else you can do. And everything else kind of just lacked down a little bit. It felt flat. The movie felt really flat for a Kung Fu Panda movie, but nonetheless, I still went and saw it. I still had to see it. I love Kung Fu Panda. There was one part where he actually name dropped. He was like, I'm known as the Kung Fu Panda. And I was like, why? Then we got the cool action fight scenes, which were honestly the best in the entire franchise. And that kind of was like, all right, this is kind of cool. So for Kung Fu Panda, I'm honestly just going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. It wasn't anything special. It definitely the weakest out of all the films. Not gonna lie, Hans Zimmer did cook though in this one. It was cool to see Tai Lung return, but I would have loved to seen a bit more Tai Lung, especially since he's on the poster of the film. So kind of set it up, but you didn't. And then obviously the chemistry between Mr. Ping and Lee, there was just too much. And I know it worked, but it didn't at the same time, especially the way they cut it. This entire movie just kind of felt forced. And they were trying to force every little thing. Like the Chameleon's motive was because she was too small and everyone didn't respect her because she didn't know Kung Fu. And she tried to link that back to her and Poe being connected. It was like, no. But apart from that, that is my review for Kung Fu Panda 4. If you guys did watch the film, let me know in the comments. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Here in Australia, we got it a couple of weeks later. I know that in America and some other places, they got it a few weeks ago. So we're a little bit late. I'm a little bit late on reviewing it, but hey, had to review it, had to watch this one. So let me know, did you like it? Did you not? Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.